Welcome to the Conscious Journey Experience podcast. And I'm your host, Kristy Morrison, and I have my little co-host here, Adam Walton.
Little. I am little.
My little tiny co-host. Yeah. Thanks for joining in again. We actually are in part 2, which is exciting. We're picking up from the last episode that we had. We were talking about energy in the last episode, and I believe we left it off with the changes that I had in my life, and I didn't realize how profound the expression of a low vibration will show up through physical ailments. I had rosacea, and we were talking about how removing myself from that fight or flight low vibrational mode into a more peaceful, calmer, zen-like space where my body...
She said that with facetiousness in her tone, but you've almost gone there. Like, you've almost gotten to that point where, you know, you are night and day. You're different people. Like, I mean, even to the point where some of your friends in your life have walked away because they can no longer manipulate you, for example.
Yes.
And you know, that old saying, don't take my kindness for weakness. When you were no longer, quote unquote, their bitch or afraid of what they may think of you, you really stepped into purpose so quickly over the past, like, not like it took you over the past year, but it was like when you finally sort of pulled the trigger on that, and when you decided that you were going to make the change.
It's almost 2 years. I'm a year and a half in from making that change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're night and day with regards to who you are.
I feel like it's night and day from who I am, and I feel like I'm in such a good space, and that's also a massive portion as why this podcast kind of got put on the side burner.
Life has to be lived.
Again, not only does it have to be lived. Yes.
We quoted Alan Watts in the last episode, and probably the one before that too. But this quote is a man who sits and thinks only has his thoughts to think about. And as much as we want a podcast, or as much as we want to share certain information, you know, your life needed to be lived so that you had the experiences to put into your spin. And I can attest to the fact that you and your girlfriend Jess have really taken it upon yourselves to, with the biggest hearts I've ever seen, you have stepped into, I mean, I don't even know how to put it, but I've never seen somebody switch or pivot to putting themselves first and still have everybody around them feel like you're putting everybody first. I know, watching you, that you are certainly personal driven. You're putting yourself first. It's almost mandatory. Like, even if you slip, I'm like, hey, put yourself first. But you both of you, and I say it again because both of you, came across the same energy at the same time, the same thing, and the two of you have been so good at yes, putting yourself first, and yes, making other people feel just as loved and just as empowered. And this, to me, is like watching one of your beautiful marks come out, which is leading with heart. You know, in today's day and age, after everyone's been shit on for so long on so many different levels, nobody, everyone's like, why on earth would I lead with heart anymore? But
yeah, they get
for
jaded.
some reason, for some miracle, you doubled down. All the abuse you took, you doubled down and said, I'm leading with heart even more now. This world needs that. And it's admirable, and it's beautiful, and it's something that I'm honored to be a witness to, a firsthand witness to. But I don't know about front row seats, but I've certainly got the first 10 rows.
No, I appreciate that. And sometimes it's very nice to hear the outside perspective of people who have seen the changes and the growth and the decisions that I've made in my life. Because I don't know if it applies to everyone, I often forget how far I've come, or how hard I've worked, or how much I've done in my own healing journey, that it does take some time to remember, like, oh yeah, I as little as a year and a half ago,
Yeah,
and beyond, I was living in a fight or flight mode. And to clarify, it's not like I was, being physically beaten all the time. It's not about that. It's about something much deeper and much more um uh, uh, e- much more in like the whole world is dealing with it is what I'm trying to say. I'm not the
Yes.
only one
Right.
who has been going through a situation like that, but it was essentially a misalignment between two people, and I was people pleasing and trying to make the best out of something when it just everything in my body was showing up, making me be in fight or flight mode again, not because of a physicality, but because there's like emotional elements behind it. There's a lot of other layers, and I had to choose myself to get out of it.
I think this is something that's good for energetic wise and for people that are looking for pattern interrupts. You and I had been talking a year and a half ago about sort of how you can sort of step up your exercise wise, and you hated the gym and all that sort of stuff, and so we talked about a few things, and you settled on pole class,
Yeah.
so stripper class as it were,
Yeah.
and talk about getting out of your comfort zone. You
Insane
walked into a
comfort zone.
class
Yeah.
you walked into a class where you didn't know anybody. They also suggested that you wear tight clothing because you don't want your clothes to get stuck on the pole or anything like that. And so now you're in an environment where you don't know anybody. You're in a strange environment. You're in a taboo environment, which is stripper class.
Yeah. People
They're
have
making you wear
projections on it.
tight
Yep.
clothes, a
Yep.
thing that you're not overly comfortable with in
Yep.
public. So you just went ahead and shattered like so many of your own little
Yes.
tiny fear things, and you just went out and you did it and you
And it
nailed it.
was so much fun. Like, I learned
Yeah.
so much about myself. I became so empowered, and it's funny because in the boss babe world, my previous life, I knew I could achieve anything. But when it came to the physicality of myself, due to previous relationships, like I was hard on myself.
Oh, easily.
And
People will tell you can't do it. Why even try? Why bother? So all of the things that you're like,
yeah,
I'm going to do it, and then they tell you not to, and you're like, okay, well, I guess I just won't do it, and that becomes like your go-to. You're like, why
why
even
bother?
bring it up now? They're just
Yeah.
going to poo-poo it. I'm just not even going to fucking.
Yeah,
I'm just not going to.
exactly. So at 41, I guess, I was like, "Screw it. I'm going to take this pole class." And I also took it a step further and I shared it on my Facebook stories sometimes,
A
a
lot
couple
of
of
the
those
time, yeah,
things.
we can
Yeah.
live vicariously through you. And again, I feel like I'm stepping on your toes when I say this stuff, but you're forgetting a lot of neat
I
things,
do.
or
Yeah.
you're overlooking some of the challenges you went through. You went through phase 1, phase 2, maybe even phase 3. Like I remember you were getting to start on phase 4,
Mhm.
and then summer kicked in, and it's like, well, we're going to be out, we're going to be constantly moving and walking and shaking, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to commit to this next stage. But I remember you humming and
It
hawing and
served
being
its
like,
purpose.
yeah, and I remember you humming and hawing and being like, I'm going to get into stage 4, like like I'm going through this. I could take this right to the end. What does the end look like? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's still really cool that again you just went so far out of your comfort zone, and amalgamated that energy and that essence into more of who you are. We don't often get the opportunity to do that, and then we also don't often get the opportunity to have somebody witness us do that,
Yeah.
and recant it back to us, because
It's true.
so many people are
So
so wrapped
thank
up in what
you.
they're doing. But yes, I took this opportunity to share with you and with the audience what we got to witness. Not just me, but Jess as well, and
Everyone around me. Yeah, all my
yeah,
friends. Yeah.
and
And
Jess was
and
doing the same thing. She was doing a
yeah.
ring, so it was neat to watch you guys do that. It was neat to be privy to watching people completely step out of their comfort zone and really excel, really achieve. Just simply because this day and age in this world where we're taught not to try, and especially for you, and for any woman in a relationship, if you're not being put first, and if you're fighting, it's not right. And I say women specifically because I know that every woman, for the most part, gets into a relationship, and if they take that next step, every single woman
Mhm.
believes that whoever she's dating right now is the one that she's going to marry. And not a lot of men think that, because a lot of men are pretty stupid in a lot of ways that we do certain things. We also, and I'm not giving away any man secrets, but we also operate from a lot of insecurities, and men who bark at their women out of insecurities, they can change, yes, But first and foremost, ladies, you're not the problem. He's dealing with a bunch of other shit that he doesn't have the mental dexterity to take out on the proper places. So you're taking the abuse, and you don't need to do it.
Yes.
I actually put something up, something that came across my eyeballs on the Instagram that I had to share, and it actually got a lot of traction because a couple of years ago I would have been shit on all over the place because this was pro female, and then the men would be like, "Well, men too," and this, that, and the other thing. But
Again,
the caption
division.
here, just the caption here is a real flex is getting her out of survival mode, letting her love herself again, and showing her love does not have to hurt. It's time that we as men bring back that old school type of love.
Mhm.
And that one did real well on the
I love that.
on the
Absolutely
Instagram.
love that.
And it's true because people talk about energy. I mean, this is still a derivative of the first episode that we did last week,
Mhm.
and it's energy based. And men can
Completely.
show
Like
up in such a way that help women, and women can show up in such a way like Boss Babe is a manufactured energy that was designed to keep people divided.
Mhm.
But you're into your feminine, therefore any man that you come into contact with will instantly notice something different about you, and try to throw themselves at you, either at a rave in the forest or maybe a ska concert in the city.
Sweet. No. Well, it also too, as your energy changes and your vibration changes, um, it does attract a lot of people of the opposite sex or even the same sex that just holds a lot of masculine energy. So let's say a lesbian could be attracted to me if they hold a lot of masculine energy. If I have
A
a lot of
non-lesbian could be attracted to you as well because you exude a certain level of confidence and power. Again, I don't mean to
yeah
step
yeah
on your toes
yeah
when I said that.
no for
I
sure yeah
overstepped
like
there.
I was just talking from pure relationship, but yes, anyone can. Um, you totally lost me train of thought.
Sorry, you were talking about how people could be quote unquote attracted to you or impressed by you,
Oh
and
yeah,
yeah,
so people can be attracted to me, but as my vibration is rising, I have very little desire to interact on a level with them. And I don't mean it from,
yeah,
"Oh,
that's
I'm
not being
better than
rude.
you."
Yeah.
It's not. It's we are not in an energetic alignment. You're over here talking about sex and lust and people and winning and blah, blah, blah. That's not me. I let that shit go. I am over here talking about love and connection and deepness and soul sparking shit.
Hmm.
And that doesn't happen by watching your favorite TV show.
Right.
I can't have those conversations. So the energy really does affect relationships, and anyone in a relationship. I think I mentioned on my last podcast I did with Laura, uh, the when good is no longer good enough. It it's a misalignment. It's a true misalignment. It doesn't mean you're better than the other person, and it's not a this or that or them versus you. It's just a misalignment, and it's as simple as that. And we don't want to construe it as someone is, oh, you're better than me. No, I just don't align with what you're showing up as. If you want to align with me, level the fuck up. It's as simple as that.
And again, that's not about you. That's
It's
about
not.
them. That's
Yes.
about them. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can totally find a partner that is at the same energetic resonance as you. So if you don't want to level up to join me on my expansion, my growth, my journey, my adventure, whatever the hell you want to call it, that's cool. You will find someone who is in an energetic alignment with you. But if you start having problems and you start arguing and you start blah blah blah, like you're either going to accept that as your reality, or you're going to be like, you know what? This no longer works for me. And you're going to have to make a decision and you're going to have to make a change, which is what I had to do. I had to pick myself.
Yeah. Yeah. You killed it. So it's neat. It's neat to see all that. It's neat to see that, and it's also neat to again, like I said, bring it up to you so that you can see that other people are seeing what you're doing.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, when you do take the time to share how far I've come, because we are in this third dimensional world where it is very easy just to, get stuck in your head and bring yourself into the, "Oh, like, I don't think I'm doing as well as blah, blah, blah," and you compare. Like, comparison is the root of suffering. Like, we can't do that. So it is nice to have the moments where like, "Oh, girl, you're doing great. Just keep going."
Yeah,
I
for sure.
appreciate it. So the question that we have with energy, we talked a lot about it actually just now. We were talking about um, can changing your energy really help you attract money, love, and opportunities? Well, we just talked about love. When you change your energetic vibration, your relationship's going to change. And you're going to have to go through some hard shit and you're going to have to make some hard decisions. When I started raising my vibration, and focusing on myself, that's when things started falling apart even more. Like the fight or flight mode really doubled down and the arguments kind of doubled down because he was fighting to be with us and I was fighting for peace. That's literally, I remember being like, all I want is peace. If you can bring me peace, amazing. Let's keep going. But he wasn't able to, unfortunately. And I don't blame him for any of it. It's not a him versus me thing. It's a misalignment. So yes, when you are changing your energetic vibration, everything in your life is going to change. Does it happen to opportunities? Of freaking course. When you're changing your vibration, you are saying to the universe, source, whatever you want to call it, be like, you know what? I am ready. I am ready to be me. I am ready to show up in this world authentically, and whatever aligns with what I am doing, let's do it. So, like, I can even talk about my trailer. Wanted a trailer so bad for, I'm going to say, at least a decade. And I was never allowed to have it because I've always been interested in the vintage trailers. For, I don't know, aesthetic reasons. I just like the look of them. And my ex at the time would always be like, "No, it's a waste of money. It's a money pit. We don't have the time to do this. You're just going to drag me into renovating it. I don't have the time for it." Like, he wouldn't. I'm like, "No, I want to work on it." And I'm not looking for one that needs to be completely like built down to the studs. I'm not a mechanic. But I wanted to find one that was in decent enough shape where I can beautify it and use it, and that was never able to be a thing. But as soon as I walked away from that relationship, it took a year and a half. It took being re-inspired again to go after a vision that I wanted. It took the choosing myself, and now I have one, a solid one that a mechanic was like, "This is the most solid vintage trailer I've seen in a while. Good job." And I was like, huge win.
I love it. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
So yeah, your energy when it comes to the opportunities is the exact same thing, and it does apply to money. So do you believe money is an energy?
I believe money, much like the toaster, nothing happens while you're staring at it. I also know that the last thing to grow on a fruit tree is the fruit itself. So you just turned your orbs on; they're all over you now.
Yeah.
Um, the Can you shift your energy? You have to, because the only thing stopping you from making money right now is your energy. I don't think I can do it. I don't have enough time. I'm stressed out. I want to go to a second job, but I need McDonald's. I don't know how to do it, so I'm not going to get started. I mean, something so simple. I sent you a message earlier today. You and I have been thrift hopping, as it were. There's a store in Kempville called The Score, and we go in there and we have fun because there's stuff that we like, but we don't like full price. So we haggle with the people, and they give us deals because why not? It's always haggle time. We go
Exactly.
into the Value Village. People are returning their CDs. This is the one that caught my attention this morning. That there was that place out in South Mountain that was
Yeah. The Lazarus.
4
Yeah.
CDs for $1.
Yeah.
Right, so I got 8 CDs for $2, and some of them are good.
Yeah.
And so we're online, or I'm online today, and I'm seeing Crash Test Dummies, for example. I saw one of them. The CD is for sale for anywhere from $15 to $30, depending. And I thought, Jesus, that's fantastic. It's a simple thing. Like, it's fun to go garage sailing. It's fun to go antiquing and thrifting. And if you're buying CDs for $2 and you're selling them on Etsy for $25 or $30, it's a small pittance, but it's something fun to do. It's like a habit. You can satiate your addiction to purchasing, and then you sell and you make money off it. I mean, there's money to be made everywhere. So when somebody says changing my energy really help me attract money, because the minute you believe in yourself is the minute you step out, you start buying $2 CDs and selling them for $30. When you've got shit energy, the very energy that they told you to have,
you get more shit.
Somebody says, well, why don't you just sell CDs for $30? The first thing you say is, why would anyone buy my CDs for $30?
Yeah, the negative.
And then you don't do it. And then you don't make $30. $30
That's a low
means
vibration.
Nothing. Yeah. But if you sell 10 CDs in a week, that's an extra $100 a week, yo.
Yeah.
Wait, that's not right. That's an extra $300 a week. My brain is on math.
But that's
it's not
the whole
on
point.
Math.
That's the whole point is anyone who's in a position where they're angry, like it's a low vibration. We need to check why. Why are we there? So
what are some of the signs that my energy is blocked? These are the good questions.
Yeah.
Like, how can I raise my energy if I'm feeling low, tired, or unmotivated? So what are the signs and how can I raise it? I mean,
well, let's talk about physical signs. Like, there's physical signs of having your energy that's blocked and in a low vibration, like chronic fatigue. No matter how much you rest, that's a physical sign.
That's also a sign that, like, if you are chronically fatigued, and yes, we can talk energy all you want, but if you're chronically fatigued, ladies and gentlemen, go take a quick peek at your doctor. Get a little bit of blood work done because your ticker might be doing something. And if your ticker's okay, then let's work on energy and placement. But that's a two-pronger. And 99% of the time when you're chronically fatigued, it is energy-based.
Yes.
Sometimes it's heart-based. And since we don't want to get in trouble, go get your heart checked out and then take the steps of what we're talking about over here.
Still use your doctors and whatnot. Like, I prefer naturopathic doctors, ladies and gentlemen. That's the thing. But we know as we're coming through this, there's a lot of things that the Western medicine does not.
And I've said this 1,000 times too. I've said, I don't believe in Western medicine. I don't believe in doctors. I don't believe in any of this stuff. Like, when you see these doctors pushing, like my mother, for example, has myocarditis. And when you saw the doctors pushing her to get the jab, which could have literally killed her, you're like, how am I supposed to trust you when clearly you're only doing this for money? Anyway, there's a ton of reasons why you can't trust these doctors, but I'll tell you this right now. And for everyone who wants to be 100% holistic, who wants to go down this rabbit hole, understand that we have been our entire lives inundated with the Western food, with Western medicine, with Tylenol, for the love of Christ. And we still need Western RX to fix the problems that Western lifestyles have created. That means right now, but moving forward, you eliminate Western lifestyles and you eliminate Western need for doctors.
Yes.
And you don't go in for a checkup every time because the doctor's going to tell you something's wrong. And we have the placebo effect. We have the ability to be like, oh, he said this is wrong with me. I may have it. I'm now going to wish it into fruition.
Yeah, and this isn't here to open up a debate about who's right and who's wrong, so people don't even bother.
There is no debate.
Us.
I'm right. Like, everybody else is incorrect.
We know that. But yeah, so when it comes to physical elements in energy, it's a sign that you're blocked. You're also going to notice a lot of tension in your shoulders, in your gut, in your hips. There are like huge storage zones on where you have tension. So if you're having like big problems in those areas, that could also be a sign. Digestive issues,
here's
gut
an
issues.
Interesting, on that very, very note, though, here's an interesting thing for you, the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't believe that you're holding it right now, or if you don't believe that it implies to you, go right ahead in the exact posture that you're sitting right now, listening to this show, and drop your shoulders. And just see how much you've actually been holding right now, just sitting here. Whatever position you were in, when you drop your shoulders, you're like, wow, there was a full inch. I was... Anyhow, I also want to press this button because of the things that we've been talking about. So just for everybody's safety.
Disclaimer. If you're going to soundbite any of this podcast, you must soundbite it in its entirety for consistency and context.
That comes across on your thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, sometimes I'm not sure because I've only ever done it with and now I'm a guest on your show. So
I appreciate it because it's true. Like, we're talking about things that, people get blacklisted for. And it's not about being aggressive about it. I just want to ask these questions, and I know from my own personal experience, this is to be true. Whether you want to believe it or not, that's all up to you. You're on your own journey. Do whatever the hell you want with this information. I don't care. You're on your own journey. I'm on my own journey. Think I'm crazy. Think Adam's crazy. We don't care. Like, we're not doing this to convince anyone. We're just sharing an experience and knowledge that we know to be true because we've gone through it.
Yeah, and I to those of you who aren't watching this episode but you're listening to it, I actually can't be crazy because my beard is really cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a
deflector. Fail-safe.
Yeah, exactly.
Another sign is frequent headaches and a tightness of jaw. A lot of that tightness in jaw is and in your headaches is holding back your emotions or words that you want to say to someone. If you have thyroid issues, so I had a thyroid, I don't know if you can see, I have a scar here, and I had half my thyroid taken out when I was 16. And when I started deep diving on what I was going through when I was 16, I was dating someone where I felt like I couldn't express myself, I couldn't share, I couldn't talk. I was very repressed and mousy. So that was a expression. I had a goiter, and it was a growth on my thyroid, and it's an energetic, essentially, lump that, yes, I'm going to have people yell at me for thyroid shit, but still, I was not able to release what my body wanted me to share and say. So I ended up having thyroid issues. And ever since then, I was 16, so I didn't have a choice. I didn't understand anything. I did have it removed partially. Right now, thankfully, it is self-sufficient, and I have taken up the ability to speak my mind. So
and now you identify as somebody without a goiter. It's a good thing you didn't want a sex change when you were 5 years old and the liberals pushed
that's
down on
okay. No, that's a whole other freaking conversation there, sir.
Well, okay, so that's another thing too with the medical profession. You have to be able to trust who you're talking to. And
You
honestly,
do,
I would more trust a man, with a bunch of sticks in his hands at the top of a mountain than a dude with a lab coat.
But that's only because we've gone through the process and we understand that a lot of stuff that we've been taught is all based on bonuses. They're getting paid. And the people who are getting paid, they're like, oh, we're not getting paid, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well,
somebody said at one point that doctors should wear their sponsors on their white lab
on
coats,
the white
like
coats,
NASCAR guys. Yeah. I'm like, that makes so much more sense.
It would make so much sense, but that goes for everything that's out there, even political parties, blah, blah, blah. That's a whole other freaking podcast right there. We're going to keep it toned in on energetic, but mental and emotional signs too, sir. If you have racing thoughts in that like endless loop, you're on a hamster roll and you're like, you feel like you're freaking losing your mind. That is a low vibration. That means you're stuck. That means you're like anchoring into this heavy vibration. If you have difficulty making decisions or brain fog, mood swings, if you fly off the handle like that, irritability, again, that's another sign. Like, all of these things are telling us where we're standing, and we're trying to have the solution through some type of pill. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, no, that's no good.
Repetitive patterns. If you're in relationships or money or work and it just keeps giving the same and same over and over and over again, you're not doing something different. You're repeating the pattern. You're not adjusting. For me, when I left my partner of 20 years, I knew with every fiber of my being, I could never be with someone who was not spiritually awakened. And I don't say that, again, from this is better, this is not better. It's an alignment. Because I cannot be in a relationship with someone who's stuck in the third dimensional world, being a normie, be like, oh, that's just boo-hoo, blah, 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 and try and live my life in a high energetic pattern and not focus on doom and gloom and not focus on greed and not focus on, all the ailments within the world and pessimism and all that shit. I cannot live in that world. So I knew with every fiber of my being, I cut that pattern. I was like, I can't do this again. If you're having problems and they keep repeating the same time, I would strongly suggest sitting down and unpacking why. What are you doing over and over again, and what could you do to not do it again? Me, it was as simple as don't date anyone who doesn't believe in what you believe in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, don't date you're going to hear some people say, well, why would you discriminate? Well, I don't understand why we have to
It's not a
defend ourselves
discrimination,
towards
it's
these
a-
things as well. But yeah, it's like, this is my time, my life. I'm going to maximize my time here.
Well, I don't know if you saw you did. You saw my post on Facebook that I said I would never date a guy who drove a Tesla. And some people blasted me. They're like, "Oh, you're so judgmental, blah blah blah." And I was
One
like,
of your
"No."
coworkers blocked me entirely because I had a different opinion.
But the point is, I'm not judging them because they drive a Tesla. Drive whatever the hell you want. I do not care. But I do know for me, it shows me where you're standing in this world. And I don't align with what you're representing and buying into. I don't believe in that.
And you're saving both of the parties the hassle by not even attempting to approach.
Exactly. So if someone's
like-
into me,
I've said it
great.
1,000 times too. It's like, if I see you wearing a face mask, I don't care how beautiful you may be. I have no interest or no desire or nothing in common with you. And I've said that before, and people are like, well, you don't know her story. What if she's super ultra sick? I'm like, well, a face mask still won't do fuck all for you. It's pointless because
And
remember, ladies and gentlemen, the face masks they
divisive.
told us were to stop our spit from going out. Right? So the story is completely convoluted, and those who believe the story don't necessarily know what to believe. All they know is they want to fight you. Therefore, anyone still wearing a face mask is essentially virtue signaling and
Well, I
stating
feel
that
bad for
they're
them.
better than us.
I
And
no,
the majority of Tesla drivers do the same thing. And I'm like, I don't understand. You know, you guys are supposed to be the inclusive grouping of people, but you're so anti everything that isn't what you believe.
I mean, I agree to a point where I don't. Some people I think are virtue signaling, but I feel so bad for them because a lot of it is rooted in fear, right?
Like fear of running out of gas. Not
We've
anymore.
completely lost natural immunity. It doesn't exist. Like the ostriches in British Columbia are getting slaughtered because a couple of birds had the avian flu, and these birds aren't dead. They have natural immunity, and they're trying to slaughter them. Like,
Yeah, they
when
told
did
us that
natural
was
immunity
wrong.
go away?
Yeah, they told us that was a conspiracy theory.
Exactly. It's not. We've had natural immunity our entire life, and it's always been a thing up until we had that lovely time in history where they said it was no longer.
Well, that's how you see that the television, the media, everything around you
It's
is lying
fear.
to you. Now, I don't want to get into a battle of semantics with this because that's not what we're here for. But once you see it, I don't need to convince anybody anymore that it's true. But there was a moment in my life where I did. And it was my story that I had to convince them. Not it was my story that I was convincing them of. It was my story that I told to myself that I had to convince these people. Truth be told, I needed these people to tell the story to so that I could comprehend it more myself. And now I don't realize I don't need to have these conversations with myself, with them, with anybody.
Yeah, I will not entertain. If anyone is having a double down on narratives and fear and you're all gonna die, I can't do it. I'm not gonna have the conversation with you. If you're right, cool, we're all dead, it doesn't matter. But if I'm right, I'm the better person because I didn't entertain that argument.
Yeah, and one of the so you know, in keeping with everything that we're talking about, one of the punchier ones too is people ask the question, what's the difference between physical energy, like being awake type of thing, and spiritual energy? Spiritual energy. So physical energy, you know, as I look at this sort of thing, and spiritual energy, when you're leading with physicality, when you're leading with third dimensional intent, you're going to get third dimensional results. When you're leading with spiritual intent, you're going to get spiritual results. In other words, if you go to the gym and you consistently lift 30 pounds, eventually you're going to have to start lifting 40 pounds, then 50, then 60, because you get better at it. So spiritually, the more you lift, the more you understand, the more you comprehend, the more you dabble in spiritual energy, the more you can take in, the more you can comprehend, the more you understand. It's the exact same thing as training anything else. So I think, you know, in this vein, the physical energy, like being awake and all that sort of stuff, and the spiritual energy is a natural form of progression. You evolve through the layers of energy from physical to spiritual to dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is what comes next and what comes after what you believe to be a third or a fifth dimensional shift is a seventh dimensional comprehension. And the higher you get into this, the more you realize that you don't even need your meat suit anymore. Because we don't technically know what death is, but we do know that it exists in this realm to be the yin to the yang of life. In other words, without
Mhm.
death, life has very little meaning. And that's that's one of the most fascinating statements, that we can go with. A follow-up to that is, can the foods that I eat change the vibration? And 100% yes.
Completely.
We talked about this earlier. You're ingesting, you're
Mhm.
taking on the essence of whatever it is you're eating.
Now,
so
there's
you're
controversy even in our spiritual community about food, not just low vibrational fast food, which is filled with empty bullshit that we all know, and chemicals. Like, who none of us would go out there and be like, I'm gonna go eat some bleach, but they wash their meat with bleach. You're like,
what? People are washing their chicken with bleach.
A lot of
That
people
was another
do.
one too. When you hear the people talking about, do you guys remember Tide Pods? How all the people were eating the Tide Pods, a challenge. I'm watching this going. That was one of the hugest ones for me, where it's like, I can't believe society. I do not believe that anyone is eating Tide Pods. I
Yeah,
believe that people are telling people to eat Tide Pods to see if people will
how
then eat
stupid
Tide
people
Pods.
are. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know it's a plant, but the controversy that's within the spiritual community regarding food is vegan versus non-vegan. Because there are people who believe that if you eat meat, you're eating someone's essence, and that is a low vibration. And there's other people that say if you honor the meat, it doesn't really matter, and you are becoming one, and blah blah blah, and so nutrients it sustains. Personally, I do not feel that there is a right or wrong or black and white answer to whether vegan or being non-vegan is better. I don't believe that. I do believe in honoring your food, whether it's a cow or a piece of lettuce. That thing grew, and I feel like we should be honoring it, knowing that we are eating it, we're consuming it. I will eat high vibrational foods that such as organic produce as much as possible. And I do understand that there is a psyop on how organic produce isn't technically organic because they're spraying the skies and the airplanes above are dropping lead from the skies and blah 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 and chemtrails. Like, I understand it all. I get it.
Even on top of that, we don't know what that little mister is spraying on your vegetables in the
Yeah.
grocery.
In a perfect world, if we were to live a high vibrational food essence, and this is my ultimate goal, and which is why I want to get back to land, is I grow my own food. Grow my own food under controlled environments, such as my own greenhouse. If I have my own greenhouse, there's a roof. I can't have chemicals from the sky falling down on it. I know it's being watered from a well, not from chemicalized, processed bleach and frickin' fluoride water. All of these things have impacts on it. And I know it sounds like doom and gloom if you're trying to combat it all at once, but you have to pick it apart one by one. I eat grass-fed beef, free-range chickens. Like, I raised my own chickens when I had my land. That was the
When we
coolest.
tried that, we were trying to be healthy or whatever. We have been for a while. Well, in general, most people are. But we came across those beef tallow nacho chips.
Yeah.
That was like, how
So
simple is that?
cool.
Where you're not creating, like, it's basically cornstarch and chips. You're not creating any unnecessary chemicals, and you have a chip that may not last forever, but while it's fresh, is absolutely delicious.
But the thing is, it's not, the chip isn't the culprit. It's the seed oils that are cooking the chips. And a lot of people are like, so when it's cooked in tallow, you're like, okay, this is pretty cool. This is an option. And I guarantee you, with every fiber of my freaking being, our world is shifting towards that because we're all sick and tired of being sick and tired of sick.
I got a personal question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I know what your first flavor, third dimensional Kristy's first favorite flavor of potato chip is, but what's your second favorite flavor of third dimensional potato chip? And it's a potato chip. We're not talking corn chips or Doritos or anything.
Like all dressed, I would say. There's so many. It used to be ketchup, but I would say now it's all dressed.
I thought you were going to go with ketchup for sure.
Yeah, it used to be. But
it's
now
definitely a toss between me. So it's, for me, it's salt and vinegar first.
Yes.
Then it's a three-way tie. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say ketchup. Takes second place.
I can't do it only because I'm just like, red dye.
But I know, but I'm talking about straight third dimensional.
So
third dimensional Kristy. So yeah, so it'd be ketchup, and then it's a three-way tie between salt and vinegar, dill pickle.
But dill pickle's
sorry,
so
not
good
salt
too.
and vinegar.
Yeah.
All dressed dill pickle, and that's about it.
That's creepy because those are my top three as well. But I'm gonna say the all dressed, even though dill pickle is right up there.
Well, dill pickle's tied with all dressed for me. And sometimes when you want an all dressed chip, like Nothing tops an all dress chip. And I don't even know what the flavor is.
Can
Like,
we
it's
interject?
not all dress.
I want to interject here so people understand. As you're raising your vibration, it doesn't mean you have to completely eliminate all of those things out of your life.
You don't eliminate them.
We're still here in this third dimensional world. We're choosing to have. Yeah, I hate.
We were just talking about this. You know, like, so this would have been something that I would have purchased and eaten the whole thing of, and just like, yeah, that's the
in
end
one
of that.
setting, yeah, and you'd probably go out and get another one and have another one tomorrow.
But now I'm like, I look at this, I think it's really good. You know, I scanned it with the app, the Yucca app, and you can say what you want about that, ladies and gentlemen, but
I love it.
I quite like it, and it came back as a 5 out of 100. So I know that, like, I'm not interested. These are really, really flavorful, but my body just doesn't want them anymore.
But your body also talks to you and tells you that.
Yeah. And so like I've said, like, I'm not here to cut things out or to live in scarcity. I've told you 1,000 times. Not you, but I've said 1,000 times. I quit smoking, quote unquote, in 2017. But I don't consider myself a non-smoker, because if I decide I want to have a cigarette, I'll have a cigarette. But I've never
seen you have a cigarette, but you had a cigar.
Yeah, I don't want a cigarette. But to state that I'm a non-smoker is a limiting belief, right? And people are like, that doesn't make any sense.
I'm a non-smoker because I don't want to be.
Yeah. But so, as somebody who smoked forever, I'm a former smoker, or, you know, I'm on break, or I just haven't bought a pack in forever.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But I don't live by the limitation that states I'm a non-smoker. I am somebody who's just experiencing everything. And my intention was never to quit all of the stuff and never do it again. It was to see how good I could do without it. It was to see what it was like to not drink, you know, and all that sort of stuff. So it was never what am I giving up? Because it seems like that when you're in the throes of it, especially when you're in the throes of addiction. What am I giving up? I'm an alcoholic. I can't give up alcohol. What people don't look at, and one of the major shifts that really affected me, especially in my energy, is not what am I sacrificing, but what am I gaining? What am I gaining by quitting drinking? What am I gaining by quitting drugs? What am I gaining by quitting cigarettes? And honestly, I could tell the whole world what my biggest prize was for making those changes, but I'm not going to do it right now. It's not appropriate.
One day we'll have a podcast and you can share.
But I have my biggest prize, and I cherish my biggest prize. And my biggest prize is very well aware of what my biggest prize is. I'm sure of it. So I sit here and I say, what you gain from making your shifts and what you gain from unloading versions of you that no longer serve you is the ultimate energetic glow up. So we talk about the differences. We talk about, can foods change my vibration? Yes. Completely. But you change the vibration of food. We talk about environment and everyday life. You know, why do I feel amazing in nature, but drained in certain spaces? Because these spaces no longer serve you. Energetically, I don't need to be here. This job doesn't pay enough. But physically, I don't need to be here. There aren't enough windows. The air is stale. The lighting is intentionally designed to suck out my soul. The trees breathe.
The fluorescent lightings that are in the workspaces are torture to our nervous system, and that does help keep us in a fight or flight mode, because 100%. We cannot regulate those types of and rays, or whatever the hell you want to call those light rays.
And if you can't properly ground in the city, you can walk out there and put your hands on a tree. You can touch a tree. You can hug a tree. I've made jokes about tree hugging, and I am legit. I will go out there. If I'm stressed out, I go out and I lean on a tree. I touch a tree. I hug a tree.
I take my socks off and I put my feet in the grass practically every single day.
And as winter comes,
there's grounding mats.
Yeah.
You can touch your plants in your house. You can be like, hi, little planty.
Or like Mariah Carey said, you can touch my body.
No. But you can touch the dirt that your plants are growing into.
Yeah.
You've
got other things here. How does clutter affect my energy or my mood? Well, this one's it's massive, because what you're looking at, is how you're going to work. That's why, like, my workspace is usually immaculate. My car is immaculate, because I am focused on the job at hand, the task at hand, what I can create with what I'm doing. So you look around somebody's room and you're like, oh, I see why you're a failure. You're a fucking hoarder. You're shrouded in, and even if you're not a hoarder to the tune of, like,
it's heavy. Just think about hoarding.
I got buried by newspapers. But
just think about that. Hoarding is an excessive amount of stuff. You're hoarding it. That does not sound like a high vibration. It sounds heavy. It sounds like oh, this is daunting. Oh, I can feel that this person doesn't have the energy to go through these things, especially when hoarding gets into degenerate hoarding of disgustingness. Like you pile bags of crap into a corner and you're like, that's unhealthy. Like
It's fucked
that's
up.
your worthiness too. It's the
Yeah.
expression of how you feel about yourself. You do not feel you're worthy of a organized space. You do not feel you're worthy of the tidiness and cleanliness of the space. You feel like a piece of crap, and this is your energetic expression into that world. So if you're ready to stop being a hoarder, we need to unpack a lot of internal stuff so it's okay for you to start throwing things out and understand you are not that collection of crap.
Yeah, and think about the compound effect too. You know, you're in an office that's got terrible lighting. You're also a hoarder, so your home is junked up with stuff. You've got clutter everywhere, so it's affecting your mood. You know, you're on your cell phone or you're on your television, which is emitting. Like we all know that even with your TV turned off, it's emitting a frequency that's messing with your brain. So technology is also there. So every single thing, from the medicine that we got from the doctors, to the food that we've been eating, to the lights that we've been sitting under, to the air, the contrails, chemtrails in the sky, the iron, the stuff that they're bumping in, the aluminum that they're putting into our bodies, the technology that we've got on our phones. We talk about transformation. All of this stuff exists so that we can be like, hey, I see it now, and I'm not willing to take part in it. And people be like, well, where do you think you're going to go? What do you think you're going to do? How do you think you're going to achieve this? Well, you just get out there and you make the changes. You make the adapting. You make it make sense, right? But then there are so many people who are still locked in all of these negative frequencies that aren't going to step up or move into their prime purpose, and they're going to sit there and they're going to have the same job where they sell the same weird product to the same group of 10 people all the time to put money in their pocket so they can go out and spend $700 a month on whatever booze they want to buy and do exactly what they want to do. They're not going to make any adjustments, adapting. They're not going to change. They're not going to do anything, and they're going to criticize anyone who's done anything other than exactly what it is that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So all of it is privy to the point where you can say, all of this made me want to change, and then you change. Or
And
all of this made me not notice anything, and therefore I stay completely the same.
The greatest compliment I ever received in my life is, you've changed. Cool, thanks.
Yeah.
That's the freaking point.
You're supposed to. Remember that meme, the caterpillar and the butterfly?
Exactly.
I love it. Yeah.
Okay, I think we should end this podcast with a quick overview on anyone who wants to shift their energy and get out of where they're at and have a new angle on life. How do they do that? Like, what are the actionable steps? And I want to start with one. You need to get clear on where you are now. You can't go forward without acknowledging where you stand today, right? So what is the feeling that you're seeing or having continually? Doesn't mean, oh, I have a joyful day and that's your energy. Baseline, majority of the time, what are you feeling? Fear? Scarcity? Are you like, oh, I'm never going to get this job, or I'm never going to have any money? Are you frustrated? Like, or are you living in a calm life? Is it peaceful? Or do you have a lot of gratitude? Where is it? If you're wanting a massive amount of change, a lot of it is in that lower vibration. It could be shame, fear, desire. Desire is a low vibration. People are like, oh, I need that, I want that, I have to have that. Yeah. Anger is also an energy. So acknowledge where you are at. Once you acknowledge where you're at, you will be able to decide on where you want to go. What do you want in your life? So instead of feeling fear, what do you want? Do you want to have peace? That was my number one. For me to make the change, I needed peace. That was my driving force for me to remove myself from my relationship. Peace. That's it. If that person was able to give me peace, meaning I could bring something to his attention and it wouldn't be met with, no, that's stupid, or I don't want this, or we don't have time for that, or like, it was always a reaction, and that kept me on my toes. It kept me being like, should I say that? That was a really gross feeling. So I wanted peace. I wanted and desired so deeply just to be able to breathe and be like,
you kind of have that now.
I do. But it was a choice, and I am not going to sugarcoat it. It was hard as fuck to walk away from absolutely everything that I've known. Everything. 36 acres of land that I've desired for so long.
Speaking of 36 acres, your buddy's in Texas. That's crazy, eh?
Yeah, sidebar. Yeah, they're on a guy's trip.
Must be
So
nice.
so have your guiding line. Where do you want to go? Maybe you want to be a little bit more empowered. Say no a little bit more. Maybe you want to have more abundance, not just financial abundance, but what's flowing to you. You want to start having those energetic changes. And it starts with doing the work. And it is acknowledging what's happening in your life, right? You can't move forward in towards something new with the same habits that kept you where you're at. So you're going to
100%.
have to say no. You're going to have to pivot and do the opposite of what you're used to doing. Try breath work. Calm your nervous system.
That's a huge one. I've actually got a former
Huge.
client who's offered up or gotten into an entire program of doing breath work for people. And it's fascinating because I remember saying to her, I'm like, oh yeah, what's breathing going to do for you? She says it changes the way the entirety of
neurons.
everything that you do works. And I'm like, well, it's fascinating. So I want to have her actually come on the show and do some discussing. She'd actually be better off on this show.
Let's do it.
Talking about like just you and her. I don't need to be here.
Fine, let's
I
do
like
it.
being here. I like working with you. You're one of the
It's fun. I like the conversations that we have because you have a very similar mindset as mine, but also you have a male perspective and I have my female perspective, and it's really cool to see how synergistic it is because a lot of people put men and women against each other and how different we are. Yeah,
and
there's things that we do
cut my
different.
balls off, I could have a female perspective as well. That's what I've been understanding anyway.
We're not talking. No.
Oh no.
We don't play in that realm.
I joke about that realm, but you have to be able to have fun with it. I mean, imagine living in a world where you can't even make a joke. Like, oof, that would suck. Wow.
And if someone's triggered, it just goes to show you that there's some work that needs to be done. Why did that comment set you off?
Oh yeah. That was one of the greatest things about shadow work. Was every single time I got offended, and I did get offended. Boy, did I love getting offended. That's not totally true. But, it's funny now, like if somebody does something and I'm like, whoa, oh, I don't think I've ever done that. I mean, I've watched myself do it right there. I'm like, that was fantastic.
I'll never hang out with you again if that's.
I could get into acting like,
no.
I don't know where I was going with that. Oh yeah, if you get offended, you're like, fuck, what triggered me, and what's the deep rooted cause for that? So that was really cool for me to be able to in real time track my shadow.
Yes,
that was really cool. You had stated too, you're like, what are the things that can change, or what can we do, or like a daily ritual that can actually shift my energy quickly and sustainably.
Positive affirmations in the morning.
Well, yeah, you can do that, but a simple act of kindness.
Yes.
Whatever it is.
Holding gratitude.
One of the things I like to do is buy for the car behind me in a drive-through. And I'll tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, because there are a lot of people like, well, I would do that, but I'm afraid to do it because what if they ordered $50 worth of food? And not a lot of people have a lot of money. So sometimes if you want to get into something like that, you can always ask the person at the window, how much was their order behind me? And if they're like, oh, they only got a coffee or two, just be like, I'll pay for it. Or they only got like a donut and a sandwich or whatever.
Yeah, and if they got like an $80 bill, you don't
it's on them.
have to. Yeah.
Whatever. All you did was ask. So what I'm saying is you don't even have to do that. There's a million things that you can do that are free.
Yes.
You can donate your time. You can create some sort of charitable offering. You can give advice to people that didn't ask for it. I love that stuff, unsolicited advice. But what I'm saying is, how do you change your energy? Acts of kindness towards others
and yourself.
Because these are the acts of kindness towards yourself. There's an account out there called You Are Another Me, and I really like their spiritual entertaining.
That's nice.
They come across under the same vein as I do. I firmly believe that so how, I mean, of all the research I've done and of all the major shifts I've made, one of the hardest things that I had to reconcile was consciousness. And how could you exist and I exist, and knowing that all I can really truly understand is that I exist, and because I exist, I have consciousness. Because I have consciousness, everything else exists. That was one of my hardest reconciliations. And what it boils down to now is I no longer look at individual consciousness, and this may help some of you out there who are doing this themselves. It is not individual consciousness. I do not have consciousness, therefore everything else exists. Consciousness exists, and I am a part of it. and you are a part of it. So it's not your consciousness that exists and everything else may be something. It is consciousness itself. It is the essence of consciousness itself. And in doing so, we all exist. Therefore, every aspect of everything that we do out there is ours. So if you do something nice for somebody, that is you helping you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do something nice for somebody who shits on you, that is you facing your shadow. And if you do something nice for somebody who absolutely appreciates it, that is you assisting your shadow. So acts of kindness boil down to how you choose to perceive what you're doing and the reason behind what you're doing. You can't go out and be like, I'm going to do something nice for somebody so that something nice happens to me.
Yeah, you cannot have an ulterior motive.
Nope. You just need to get out there and do something nice because you wished somebody had done it for you. I built an entire career out of offering people the very thing I wish I had as a kid. And one thing that really caught my attention was the only person that's coming to save you is the version of you that you wished you were when you needed saving the most. And that's the case. You're coming to save yourself.
Mm-hmm. We all save
Eventually.
ourselves. We can't.
Yeah. Or you're going to die on meth. And I don't mean die as in die. I mean, like you're either going to save yourself or you're going to dwindle into nothing. And remember, every single person needs to be somewhere. So for you to understand yourself a little bit better, you need to see the version of you that's addicted to meth and hanging out under the bridge. Be like, well, at least I'm not there, right? You also need to see the version of you that's driving around in 9 Bentleys all duct taped together because you've got more money than God, right? You'd be like, I don't want to be him, but there are levels. I can aspire to go from where I am now. Like I've only got $1,000 in the bank to understanding that there's more money and there's more this and there's more that and there's more experiences.
Exactly.
I've always said if God didn't want me riding jet skis, he wouldn't have invented jet skis. So everything in this reality exists for you to create with it and be appreciative of it and aspire to have it or become the person who earns it. It's never about the thing. You and I both, Amazon made an entire business off of the idea that people want to wait for the item to show up. And think about it. None of us give a shit when the thing gets here. The real excitement of Amazon is waiting for it to show up.
And
so it's
now
Christmas every day
get.
because Amazon, I press some buttons. A girlfriend of mine has a $4,000 bill on her credit card. And she goes, how the hell does this happen? I said, Amazon, festivals, being a maniac. Anyway, I don't want to name names or point fingers or anything like that. But hey, it adds up real quick. But that's the business model. We're here to wait for the thing to get here and who we become in the process. That was long-winded. I prattled on. We've pushed this one straight to 58 minutes.
Yeah,
so
I think it's amazing.
Right.
I love that. And I want to add my own little ending point is gratitude. As you're working on raising your vibration, hold gratitude, even in the most difficult times. Let's say you're going to be like, why did this guy rear-end me? Well, he rear-ended you because you have a dent in your bumper and now insurance is going to cover it. Cool. Like, look at things a little bit differently, hold gratitude for absolutely everything, and even practice gratitude with your money. Gratitude for your bills. I am grateful that my bills are coming in because I know they're going to get paid. I am grateful.
Jim Rome said, look at your bills. Don't be upset that you have bills. Be thankful that somebody extended you the credit in the first place to acquire what you needed to acquire.
Exactly. So that's absolutely going to transform your life. All right, Adam, thank you so much for joining us on the Conscious Journey experience. I always appreciate our deep dives, conversations, and, the little jokes that happen throughout because it's so fun and eye-opening, and I hope people found this inspirational. If you have tuned in and you thought this was inspirational, fun, you got something from it, share it with us. Make a comment, share it with your friends. We want to be able to share this content as far and as wide as it will go. And we are grateful for you to join us. So until next time, thanks, guys. We'll talk to you later.